Hi guys, and welcome back to the Tried It podcast, where we'll be discussing all things from millennial struggles to relationships and love and everything in between. I'm Kedeisha.
I'm Jade.
And I'm Maya. And welcome to another episode. Thank you for joining us.
Happy Thursday.
Yes, happy Thursday, guys.
Yeah.
I always forget the date.
It's not like I just came from Carney now. How's everyone been? Someone's been away.
Oh my gosh, this is the first time Maya's asked that in about 8 weeks.
I know,
Yeah.
actually. We don't usually have a little chit chat before anymore. But yeah, no, I've been good. Obviously, I was away. Got my tan going on. So if you're watching on the YouTube, just
I'll zoom in on the
appreciate
legs
this for a minute. And yeah, it was just relaxing. It was so nice. But I feel like 2 weeks was a bit long. But I'm glad to be back. Missed you guys.
Do you feel well rested?
Yeah, I feel really well rested. I feel like, I don't know, like
Anthony
too
pants.
rested, yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, no. How are you guys?
me, I'm good. I'm literally exhausted. I've been busy every day of the week for the last 2 weeks.
Oh no, see, I can't handle that. I need time. Like, I have a day at least where I just do
Yeah.
nothing.
I mean, today's kind of been that day, but I'm so tired from like the last 2 days in particular that it doesn't really even feel like a rest. And then I'm back to work tomorrow. In case you wonder what we're talking about, we're actually recording on Monday.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm alright. Just come back from Carney. Feeling fine. Probably a bit, I think I'm a bit tired. That's probably why I've not been so like, how have you been? I eased everyone in.
What did you eat?
No, I just got a patty. I ate before I went, but no, not because I don't want the food, not because of that, just because Carney's a bump. It is. It is such a bump.
I went to Carnival yesterday and I had the best jerk chicken I've had in a very long time. But
No, I think the standard of the food was better this year.
The food at Carnival.
I haven't always had good food there though. You know?
You have to like. It's so funny.
You've got to sauce it out.
As we was walking up and down, we was like, oh no, they've not got a queue, can't go there.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh no, I don't like the look of the chef, can't go there.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Doesn't look clean.
he's not
There's
wearing
levels
gloves,
to
not
this.
going there.
Yeah,
And then we
true.
found one, and there was like a bit of a queue, but not so much of a queue. But the people that were cooking looked good, the food that was out of the front looked good, it smelt good as well, because that's important. Why am I outside and I can't smell?
Yeah.
Especially
So
jerk
true.
chicken.
Yeah.
So it smelt good, and we got it, and we literally, it was so good we had to stop and eat. Like normally, we like walk
On
and
the
walk
road,
and eat,
yeah,
but we had
yeah,
to
yeah.
stop and just enjoy it. Yeah, it was a good time. It was so hot. I think I got a tan
Yeah.
just from being out yesterday.
Mine wasn't the heat didn't bother me as much. The crowds and the pushing, because yesterday was such good vibes. Everyone enjoyed yesterday. It was really, really good. So I think today people were like, people who didn't even think they were going to come again came again.
Yeah.
And then they
My
were
cousin did
there.
that.
Yeah, we were there, and literally, I was trying to walk back to get here. I was like, okay, let me leave at 5 for sure. Even though we don't record till 7, let's make sure that we've got like I'm here. So then me and my brother started walking at 5. Didn't get to Latimer Road Station, which is the only one. I did my research beforehand, bare exit only, different times, all of that. Did my research, knew it was Latimer Road, left my brother, I was like, take your phone, you're too slow. And I got to the station at 5:48.
Oh my
Listen,
gosh.
48 min
Last
of
no,
pushing.
wait.
And
Last
Fed
year,
saying
when I
that
went,
road's closed.
Yep. Last year I went, I wasn't going to go, and then my cousin convinced me to go. And I went, and I was there for half an hour, and that was the first year I've ever found Rampage's stage. And the crowd at that particular area is just unbelievable.
I swear, one year I went and my feet were off the floor from the crowd. I
Yeah.
swear to God.
Yeah.
Like,
And I was getting
literally
pushed and
being
shoved.
You would
like-
die.
And some man was like, I have you, don't worry, like, I'll take care of you. Some old man. I was like, I
God.
scab it.
This is
No.
horrible.
So then I was like, no, I'm leaving. And that was after like half an hour being there.
That's mad.
It took me 2.5 hours to find my way out. And I'd walked so far, I ended up at, what's it called?
Paddington.
Yes.
Paddington.
That's how far I walked. And I was by
Jeez.
myself, and I just, like you say, every street I went up, he's like, no, it's that
Yeah.
way. And then I get to that street, and they're like, no, it's back there.
Oh,
2.5
fucking
hours just to find a station. That's not even getting
insane.
home.
And like you saw me, I'm on my own and I'm a girl and I'm walking and it's bright daylight. You can see I'm not carrying anything. Let me through. You know what I mean? It's not going to harm me. Second one on the left, love. Second one on the left. I don't want to hear that. Just open that and just I could have got
That's
down there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So wanky. And they come out in their forces and oh my god, I heard a policeman say to Bear, they were searching everyone ridiculously, obviously everyone black, and then they were like, excuse me, yep, sorry sir, I'm just gonna random search, blah blah blah, and then another guy, they're like, excuse me sir, you won a prize, gonna search her, and I was like, your cheek is through the roof. You're so lucky you're the authority right now, because boy, it was mad. And also, there's something to be said regarding with just one or maximum 2 people to calm me. Big groups is just a long thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In my
you
past,
lose
I always
them.
This was my favourite
like
year. It was
6
just my
people.
brother. Done. Easy. If I lose him, you got your phone. Goodbye.
Oh my.
Anyway, should we get on with the show?
Yeah, let's. What's the topic today, Maya?
Today we're going to speak about transgender in general and obviously define a few terms, make sure we know what means what, and just speak about it as a whole because this is an introductory episode to our part 2 where we're actually going to have someone who is transgender on the show.
I feel like this is such an important topic because there's a lot that, like, for example, I don't know if I'm ever going to say the wrong thing, like what's the right thing to say, what's the wrong thing to say. I don't know a lot of like the actual details about how it all works, like what's going on, so I feel like this is a really good episode just to like give us time to actually talk about it and discuss it and see, you know, what we know, what we don't know.
And I
like
especially wanted to talk about it because what you sent in the group on Insta of that guy who was dating a woman who used to be a man, and the amount of hate that he received, and then he ended up killing himself.
That's so sad.
That really moved me because I just thought like he had such like bravery and pride and was so strong to come out and be so open about who he loved and he shouldn't be judged for it and what's the problem, blah blah blah, and then he couldn't take it anymore and it's just heartbreaking. And I think at the best of times suicide is always sad and tragic. I agree.
But I feel like when someone commits suicide specifically because of how other people are making them feel, I think it's just so sad. Like, it's not just something that he was battling within and he couldn't hold it in anymore. Like, he was living his life. Other people weren't happy with it. Like, and now he's not here anymore. Yeah. It's just so sad.
I think it's as well. I follow the Nikita Dragon. Do you guys follow her?
No, but I know who she is.
Yeah, and she has been more open recently about finding love, like trying to find a guy who will actually accept her and stuff, which I found was really interesting because, like, she was saying that she was in a relationship and he.
Just for the listeners, who's that?
So she is basically this. She used to be a boy and now she's a woman. So she's like a transgender woman, right? Yeah. She's just basically like someone who does like pussy stunts. Basically, she just basically dresses up. She does the most. Like, she's so extra. And she does these amazing looks, amazing makeup and hair, and she has like her own makeup line now. And yeah, I guess like an influencer, right? Or like just like kind of like a model and stuff.
Public figure.
Yeah, like a huge advocate for like trans people, and you know there was that Victoria's Secret who said that they don't think that trans people fit into the dream, like the fantasy, and so they said they wouldn't have any transgender models, and so she wore the like underwear and she like did this whole like video on it where she looked great, and then now Victoria's Secret have said that they do include like transgender women as well. So yeah, she's been like a big person in the industry for that. And yeah, so she was saying about how she had a boyfriend like trying to find love, and how like she struggled because in the end he just didn't want to admit to people that he was with someone that used to be a man, and like how that's such a problem in her life, and she feels like she'll never actually find love. So when I was hearing this story, I was just like, oh my god, like that's something that I wouldn't even, you know, think about, that people that are trans like go through.
Yeah, and do you know what's funny as well from the research that you sent? When we like, I think we'll define the terms of what everything means in a sec, but what I was really struck by was me ignorantly, like when I was younger and stuff, I would instantly think when somebody was trans or when somebody had, you know, actually transitioned from being male to female or vice versa, that it was always a sexual orientation thing. Yeah. That it was because they were gay but couldn't come out as gay, and they'd rather just be a woman instead. Do you know what I mean?
Oh really?
Yeah, I always thought that because I was like, why can't I just be a lesbian then? Or why can't I just be gay? Like, why is it got to be that deep? But then reading what you've said, it's so obvious. Like, I don't know why I even thought like that, but it's absolutely nothing to do with your sexual orientation. Yeah. Because how little does that even play in our everyday lives, really? Do you know what I mean? There's other things. Obviously, it's important, but there's other things that are more important, I think. Yeah. Like, we shouldn't live that. But as a society, we're so narrow-minded that we're just like, no, that's the reason. And it's just like when women don't want to have kids, automatically people think like, oh, that's probably because she can't get a man. And why do we think that? Like, there's so many other reasons that she might not want to have a kid, but we're so hell-bent on being like, this is why we have to box things and make sure that like stereotypes survive, I guess.
100%. So there was like the three main terms that I think are quite similar that people get mixed up a lot. It was like transvestite, transgender, and transsexual. So transvestite used to be used a lot back in the day, and it's basically the term that is used like nowadays is cross-dresser. So it's basically typically like a man that wants to dress as a woman or a woman that wants to dress as a man. Doesn't necessarily mean that they like want to actually be transgender. It just means that they are dressing as the opposite sex, basically. And there's transgender, so someone whose gender identity does not correspond to the sex that they were assigned with at birth. So just like as we think, but actually there's like an umbrella term where transgender is actually like the umbrella term. So that can like agender, whereas you don't identify as either, or pangender, or like queer gender. Like these all fall under the transgender umbrella term. Transsexual, which has fallen out of favour amongst most trans people.
So what would we use instead for transsexual? You just wouldn't
use transgender.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, 'cause
transsexual means you've
transsexual-
actually gone and had operations and hormones and stuff.
No, it means I mean transgender people who have or want to use medical intervention, hormones or surgery. But yeah, I think that people just didn't like it because it, as you said, it gives that
orientation.
idea that it's all about sex and it's about like who you want to be with. But, So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that was really interesting to clear that up.
Same,
because
yeah,
was
I didn't
really
know
like,
before
what?
then, exactly.
There's all these terms, and because they all have the translator, they kind of sound quite
And you
similar.
wouldn't know if it's offensive or not.
Yeah,
Trans means change, I'm assuming.
I don't actually know what trans means on its own.
Well, obviously, like transform,
Means
transfer.
change.
Yeah, I think it would
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Nice one. I didn't even think of that. we were talking about pronouns as well, like the other day, about like why they're important and how they can affect somebody. And we were thinking, like, do you call someone like they, he, she, or it? We were wondering about that as well.
I think, do you know what? It's not for me. It wasn't that like I struggled with, shall we do it? I struggled with, shall we be asking people what they see? Like, it's not. It's for me. It wasn't a natural thing to ask somebody, what do you identify as? Because you can literally not look mannish or girlish. Do you know what I mean? And you can literally, you just look just like us, and you might identify as a boy.
Yeah.
And you might see yourself as a boy, so you might want to use the pronoun he. So I ignorantly wouldn't assume that I need to ask anybody, what would you like to identify as? Because I'm like, surely by looking at you, I can see you want to identify as a girl, or I can see you want to identify as a boy. But that was what was like weird for me. I was like, oh, so we should ask. Do you know what I mean?
But I guess you can't ask anyone, so I get like you can't just go around asking every single person like, what do you want to be identified as? But I guess it's like if you kind of catch the idea that, you know, they might want to be like, if you hear their friends calling them like something different, then you might ask, I guess, and that's when I would ask anyway. If I could see that like or sense that like something was different and they wanted to be called something different, then I would ask.
The only time I ask is if it's Mr, Miss, Ms, or Mrs, or
Oh yeah.
them ones, but for he or she, it's he or she, I think. Like, if you're a...
There's they as well.
And they, yeah. So, but they is usually like when you're speaking, then when they're not, it's like a group, no? They is a group.
No, because you can be pangender, which means you identify as two genders, and that's why you refer to somebody as they, or they like to be referred to as they.
Or if they're not sure what they are yet, then they can like you can call them they. Like, they just want to be called they.
The only reason I know about this is because I went to something, and when we walked in, they were like, everyone write down your name and your pronouns. And I was like, what?
Oh my god.
Pronouns are what you identify as. And I was like, oh. And I thought it was like a bit too much. You know what I mean? Like, look, our names are enough. But actually somebody in there, it was all women, and somebody wrote down he. I was like,
I do feel like it's kind of confusing because, for example, like, I was watching a YouTube video. I make myself sound so cringy. Anyways, as I was watching one of Nikita Dragon's videos, she did a video of James Charles, and she was calling him her all the time, right? But he's not transgender. He is a man. He wants to be a man, but he's just gay. But she calls him a she, and like, he wanted to be called
very
a she.
popular in like the camp society.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Like,
like, 'cause
bitch.
you would
Confusing.
call drag queens her,
Yeah.
and then but at the end of the night they put their
Yeah.
male clothes on and they were him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it all does get very confusing to the average person, I suppose.
Especially when ignorance is involved too.
Yeah, but I think, not to be taken the wrong way, but I feel like if you're female, then you are a her, and if you're male, then you are a him. And I feel like this identifying is what makes life confusing for
Yeah, but
other
how
people.
would you feel?
No, but I'm saying, so for example, if you came out tomorrow and said, "Do you know what, guys, I don't feel like I want to be a girl, I want to be a man," and you start undergoing that process to become a man, that's then then you'll be called a he. But you can't. Well, no, you can. You can do what you want. But in my opinion, if you was to sit here and say, "I'm still me. I just want you to call me he," it's why?
Because what if you don't have the money, or like you're not sure yet?
And it's a long process.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, I'm just going to read the process out. The first thing you have to do is you have to have a report from a medical professional detailing any medical treatment that you've had. Well, first of all, you have to be identified as having gender dysphoria. So it's like
a mental disorder. That's what they call it.
Because you have to be crazy to in the government's point of view, I guess. 2, you have to have a report from a medical professional detailing any medical treatment that you had to make yourself more the gender that you want to be. 3rd thing is you have to have proof of having lived for at least 2 years as that gender without any changes, like no medical intervention. If I wanted to be a boy tomorrow, I've had to have proof of 2 years.
And how do you do that?
I contact my bank and I say I no longer want to be called Maya, I want to be called Michael, or I no longer be addressed to as blah blah blah. So you have to have things like bills, all that kind of proof like that, family, accounts, testimonies, all that kind of stuff. 4, you have to have a statutory declaration that, for example, me, I intend to live in the acquired gender until death. So there's no out backsies. When you do this, that's it for life. You don't have the beauty of messing around. Because that's what the government wants you to do.
Yeah, but why?
Because that's how it is. I'm not the government. And then the next one, 5. 5. If married, they need the consent of the spouse.
Okay.
6, a payment of £140 or proof that you can't afford that. Yeah. 7, submission of this documentation to a panel. So a bunch of people
are
gonna look at your paperwork and be like, are they allowed? Can we pass it? And they decide. And that has been since then 4,910 trans people have been issued a gender recognition certificate.
But a lot of people
and this
find
is all
it really demeaning
surgery.
and just like.
Yeah. Not before surgery.
I think it's to change your birth certificate to be like
to be recognised legally.
That gender.
You wouldn't change your birth certificate though. They
Why
wouldn't
not?
change your birth certificate.
It does. It goes back. It gets your birth certificate and it changes from what you were born to that.
Oh no, I don't think you should do that.
Why? Because to them they are born.
Yeah, but
that was a mistake that they were born.
Body.
They were born.
No, I feel like you should get a new certificate, because say that person then went on to have kids, and then they get separated from that kid, and that kid wants to do ancestry, and they go back. I'm really looking for my Auntie Maya, and there's Auntie Maya's off the map. Can't ever find her, but I really need to find her because do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But usually they track people down by birth certificate.
Which has been changed now. Oh yeah, because it's Auntie Maya. Okay, I get you.
So I feel like you should get a new certificate and like staple them together, type thing. Like then you've just got 2
maybe
documents.
on that ancestry,
because you still live the life as that person, so you can't just erase that life. Because say you don't do that change until you're 46.
Yeah, but
so you still got 46 years of life.
Like they say that it's almost like they have died. Like it's like you actually grieve that family member because it's like they're gone now, like they're dead. Like
you. So let me put it this way. Say, imagine you had a phase in your life, Kedeisha, where it was a very dark time and you hated it and it was just a nasty thing. You wouldn't necessarily want to remember that time ever. So
because it's almost like they pretended to be someone else. Like
exactly.
In their body, they don't feel confident.
And they didn't choose that. It was like they were born, that was it, you're a boy or you're a girl, whatever. But the whole time, every single moment of that time.
Yeah, but nobody chooses it.
I know, but that's just how they feel.
I know, but you're saying it as if like the option was taken away from them.
Obviously, okay, I didn't mean that. I don't mean that, like, they could have been something else. Obviously, no one has a choice. They included didn't have the choice. And now they're dealing with the effects of feeling so uncomfortable, hating every minute of their life. And now they've finally been given a lease of life because they can be who they were always supposed to be, they believe.
I don't know that everybody feels that way. If that makes sense. Like, I hated every day of my life as a female.
Not like they hate it, but they do
feel
like they are a man in a woman's body or a woman in a man's body. Like they are not the gender that they feel that they are.
A decent life. It's just not been to its fullest potential. But I don't feel like everybody necessarily has the notion of.
Yeah,
I could every day I wanted to kill myself until I was a man.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But there is loads of accounts of people.
Yeah, there probably is. So what do you guys think about children?
Do you know what? I watched something on ITV. Just wait. It was a drama, but it was very very hard hitting, and it changed my whole thing. And that might actually be my shout out, but I can't find the name, but I'll find the name and I'll put it in the bio of our Insta. Oh my god, it was this boy, and he was like, he was forever putting on makeup, forever dressing up. He was only young, he was like 8 maybe. He was going to school, he wanted to wear his sister's clothes to school. He wanted to, and obviously his dad really struggled with it, and the whole family showed the dynamics of the family so accurately, and you could just see the mum was like, that's my baby, no matter what, I'm heartbroken that you feel this bad. The sister was like, oh, I don't want you to get bullied, bro, but at the end of the day, if you're not happy. And the dad was like, nope, son, yeah. And then the boy's so unhappy, he tries to kill himself multiple times, and like they get home and then he's like cut his wrists and like horrible stuff, and then finally the parents are like, we can't ignore this anymore, fine, like we'll go through the stages of it, and they fight to get him the change that he wants, and they get him to be a girl, and he's really, really happy as a girl.
How old is he?
He's only like 9. But they had to go to America, they went to this place, they went to that place, because I think that in some countries, because here, like you said, it's like 2 years or whatever.
Yeah, you
and
have
even
to be
if you're
16
young,
to have hormone
exactly.
treatments, 18 for surgery.
Yeah, so he might have been like 16, but I think even here it was even longer for some reason. So the mum and dad like worked hard to go and pay to take him to America, or do you know what I mean? Like they did a mad thing, and it just showed me that, because I was always very like I would dismiss it, because I'd be like, I'm not even 100% sold on people who are adults wanting to be a different gender, let alone someone who's a kid. Like I changed my mind like the weather as a kid. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't know.
Now.
So I was really, but then I watched this and I was like, okay, I can understand completely, especially from a parent's point of view.
Yeah.
I can get why, like, if your child's in that much pain and they're so young, you're gonna wanna, you know.
Yeah. So I watched something like kind of similar. Well, it was this is my shout out as well. It's a documentary by Louis Theroux on like trans children, and he basically has like a few different families that he goes and sees, and their children want to be trans. It's all different kind of and it's all different stages. So some children are like really young who are saying like, I feel like I'm not the gender that I am. Yeah. There's one who was like going through the hormone process, and ones that were older, and like I just think, especially if they haven't been taught about transgender like from young, and they're saying, I don't feel like I am a boy, I don't feel like, you know what I mean? If they're saying these things, like,
where do they get it from?
It's not like they've been like taught it in the school, and now all of a sudden they come home and they're thinking it. Like if they're insistent as well, like persistent, like I am not happy, like I am not a girl, or I'm not a boy, that kind of tells me they're innocents, like, do you know what I mean? I almost feel like it makes me believe them more, because like they're so innocent, and like if they're saying it from so young, like they're not gone on the internet and found it.
I do agree with that. But to get to your point, because you keep being like, is it American, is it British? I was very much like, is this a white people thing? When I was reading these statistics and like these notes.
I'm interested to see like.
So then I actually Googled, and the first place I always go when I try and find culture differences is like the Asian community, because they are, in my opinion, very against any kind of like outwardly different thing. Like homosexuality is still a huge thing, and this is not just Asian culture, obviously I know in like many cultures, but being half Asian I know firsthand. So I checked, and there's like statistics of people in India, and there's a place in India that had recently passed the law that you are allowed to change gender. Before there was a law saying you are not allowed, it's not legal, you cannot, it's illegal. People would still find a way, like they'd move country, or they would, I don't know, like probably backstreet things, like how abortion never used to be legal, and people would have backstreet versions of doing stuff. They probably had backstreet things there, which was obviously really dangerous and horrible. But now it is actually allowed. There's a law passed in some part of India, maybe someone could tell us a bit more if you have any more knowledge, where you can do it, and numbers are rising, but it is still a hugely like controversial and like taboo. That's it. It's a hugely taboo thing, and like a lot of outcasting and a lot of
shaming and everything.
Completely, because it's like, why would you want to change your natural thing? God has given you this, God has given you that. Like, why would you want to do that? It's dirty. Sex, you must want to be with men, like all of that kind of stuff.
So do you think it should be taught in schools, or no? That's a hard one.
No.
You don't think it should? How come?
Because I feel like it should be one of those things that is a household thing. I don't feel like, because like you just said, the kids, if it was being taught to them and then they come home and stuff, kids don't know what they want until they see it, usually. So I feel like the numbers will go up
But is that
Not-
just because
yeah.
they're aware of what it is, and now they're like, oh, that's how
Let me
I
try
feel.
that.
But
No,
that's
I
how
don't
kids
think
are.
that.
Kids
I don't
are
think
very,
that
let's try that.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think it would be like. I had this deep thing in me, but I didn't even know. But now I've seen her
Yeah,
doing it.
no.
I can do. I'm awakened.
I feel like it would be, Tommy came to school today and now he's Sarah. I want to be Sarah too. Like,
Yeah.
I
it's
agree
a toy.
with that. But at the same time, look at the process you have to do if you're actually serious.
Yeah, but these 5-year-olds don't
Yeah,
know
and
that.
how long would that last? This
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would last till they're max 6.
Yeah. So wait. So just to rewind a little bit, I also watched a documentary. It was quick. It was like a snippet of a documentary, and it was in America, and there was this family, and they had a son, and he was about 5 or 6 years old, and then he was a single child for ages, and then I think as he was turning 6, his parents had another baby, but that baby was a girl, and when this baby came, the parents obviously, as you are with a baby, loving on the baby, all these little pink stuff and all of this stuff, and the little boy got jealous of how much the parents loved the new baby, that he was like, well, it must be because she's a girl and I'm a boy. So he then started saying, I want to be a girl, I want to be a girl. And then they went to see, America's love like a therapist and a psycho
Oh, yeah, gender
person.
therapist. Yeah.
So they went and got to him someone to speak to and like tried to uncover and then that's this woman the therapist is the one who found out why he wanted to be a girl. It wasn't just something deep within him. It was because his little sister was loved so much and he thought only girls get loved that much. So he then wanted to in turn be a girl. And after having like therapy sessions of like saying, this is because she's just a baby. When she gets up to be your age, like if there was another baby and it came and it was a boy, he'd be loved just as much and doesn't mean you're loved any less and blah blah blah. And then he was like, okay, yeah, no, I don't want to be a girl in the end. But
yeah, I
things
think
like
it is
that,
important
kids-
to look at other
yeah.
reasons, other influences that it
yeah,
could be.
because it could be. Imagine they'd have just said, okay, well, he wants to be a girl, let's make him a girl. And by the time he turns 7, he's like, why have you done this to me? Because even pre-teen, you're different to when you're teen. So I just feel like kids, especially under teens, shouldn't be allowed to make their own choices about them. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with what you say. It would be interesting to know if there's any statistics. I mean, it's hard to get statistics as it is on this, but it would be interesting to know if there's anyone who's changed their gender and wanted to go back.
Yeah.
Because then we would
in my
know if there's
godson's school, this is in Leicester, he's 8, and a couple of years ago, I think it was back when he was 6, in his, you know how they send kids home with letters, they got my friend got a letter in the post saying Tom is now known as Jessica, please can you let all your children know that they are to call Tom Jessica now. Jessica will be using the female toilets with all the other female students, blah blah blah. And this is a 6-year-old in school, like, and now so what impression does that sort of send to the rest of the kids? Oh, I want to go in the girls' toilets as well. Why does he was a boy yesterday? I want to, do you know what I mean? Like, they can be very impressionable.
You have to see if it's
And also,
something that is
kids are not very like, they're adaptable, but they don't understand change and the reason for change, and like that Jessica's gonna find it hard now. Do you know what I mean? People are still gonna be calling them Tom and not understanding, and why are you wearing a skirt? Like, that skirts are for girls because that's what they're taught. Yeah, and I just feel like I just don't feel like it needs to be taught in school. That's like, even like, it's one of those things that's not
black or white.
No, it's not like, for
it's
example,
on a case by case basis kind of thing.
If sex was not a biology, I don't think that should be taught in school either. Do you know what I mean? It's
What about
for the biology of it, yeah. But I feel like what?
Because it's like sex is so much, like, I think it should be taught more
No.
about women and how it feels
In
you
school.
and how we
In
need
school,
to come
Maya.
to. Yeah, but okay, where else can you learn it then? Because if you're saying it's a household thing, what if your parents are telling you if you're doing that, that's gonna be bad and you can never do that?
Then
Where are you gonna learn about it?
Don't do it.
Ever in your life?
No.
Not ever in your. Well, your parents can't be telling you don't do it ever in your life when they're your parents and
If
they
that's
had
gonna
you.
cause
That
mad
doesn't make
issues, like,
sense.
if you-
But I just feel like it's a household thing. If I'm expecting my daughter to not be out there being promiscuous, and then in school they're teaching her sex is okay as long as you use a condom, just make sure that you use a condom, then no baby will come and you won't get a disease, so sex is fine. And I've just got this daughter just go, no.
But at least she'll be safe. I thought she would have done it behind your back anyway.
No,
No.
okay. I think we're getting a bit too on the school system now.
No.
I agree with you about that.
Things like money management, how to pay your taxes, that should all be in school. But I feel like things like that is because, again, like
Everyone's got their
religion. What if
different-
my household religion doesn't agree with this? Do you know what I mean? I don't want the school. Like, for example, my house, growing up, we was in a Christian family. When they came to school and we watched movies, they used to play Harry Potter. I was not allowed to sit in that room and watch Harry Potter. I'd have to be in a different room doing God knows what else, by myself. Everyone else is allowed to watch Harry Potter, but because my mum's telling them no, it's witchcraft, I don't want my daughter watching Harry Potter. So things like, do you know what I mean? And then I'm now singled out, and that's just for something like a movie. So imagine like teaching like that. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I hear that. I agree with the sex thing because, yeah, it's true. Like you can't be taught teaching sex as matter of fact as that, which is like use a condom, it's safe.
Exactly.
I agree, which is the biology way of doing it. 100%. But there does need to be more education around these things, and if not in school, then where?
College, maybe.
Okay, yeah. At some point in the schooling system, I agree. Maybe not primary school level. Fair enough.
No.
But at some point in school, like 16. That's college age.
No, because at 16 I've got priorities. I've got English GCSE to be focused on, not sex. And if the legal age is only 16, why are we encouraging and promoting it at 16?
No, it's just I don't feel like it should be like go out there, do it,
But
use a condom, be safe. It should be like
what it
teaching
is.
all about it. I feel like
No,
it
this is
should
what I'm
be
saying.
like
If it wasn't so,
almost like a PSHE lesson.
so for example,
Which we did have.
I didn't. I went to a Catholic school.
You didn't have PhD?
No.
Good,
I
it was a
went
waste
I
of
didn't
damn
think it's supposed to
time.
have PSHE.
It was such
No,
a waste of
we
time.
didn't.
All we did was
The only
programs.
time I learned about, I did an after school club with like this. It was like a youth club, but they came to the school. They did a couple of sessions on sex and stuff and how to be safe and stuff.
Oh
but
yeah.
that was like year 10. Even then, why are you teaching me how to put condom on in year 10? It's just... Anyway, so yeah, in school, when they teach you about sex, they teach you, obviously they have to teach you the body parts, they teach you the vagina. I mean, they didn't tell me about vulva, but they did say vagina, penis, both, baby. Like, that's the biology side I'm talking about,
Okay.
because you need to learn that. But things about like, yes, you need to be told about STDs and stuff, but I just don't feel like it belongs in the school curriculum. Maybe college, but like I said, it's like, because what's the legal age to drink? 18?
But you can only buy drinks at 21.
No, you can buy drinks
No,
at
it's
18.
just
Can you?
think 21. It's just think 21. So if you look under 21, they have to ID you.
Oh,
Yeah.
much better.
But like, they don't start teaching about alcoholism as in school and drinking and the different
but if
volumes and what level you shouldn't be driving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but don't you think that'd be better if they did?
I think they
No.
should.
I think it would be good if they did. It would save a lot of problems. The amount of people
No,
that
it
are
wouldn't.
really, I believe
It's
that
glorified so much because we don't know these things.
100%, and it's cool, and we know because we're not taught about it. We know that it's not exactly favoured.
I feel
and we
like
want to do it more.
these are household things that you're,
But
as
so
a
many households
parent,
aren't going to do that.
as a
I agree.
parent, yeah, but then what does that say for your parenting?
Bad.
Yeah, but that's
So
what
there's a lot of
everyone's like.
malparenting. There's a
Well,
lot of
But who
malparenting.
says that?
Okay, that's a different topic for a different day. But coming
I
back
actually
to
do
this,
want to talk about that.
I agree. That's
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
very excited about that. But I just think in regards to this, like he, she, pronouns, the
What do you think the age
differences.
should be to say, I want this change? I think it should be
18 minimum.
What do you
I was
mean,
gonna
like
say 21.
hormonally actually going forward with it and like surgically or like
just making
just
that
saying,
decision.
I
of-
think I'm
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
there's
from
some things,
18,
though.
you're legally adult to do what you want, so I suppose it would be 18 minimum. But ideally, I would like to think it was 21.
Yeah, but there's some things where it doesn't need to be said. You can just know. Like if
Yeah,
as a
like
kid,
I had a cousin growing up. We always knew that he was gay,
right?
and he would never like admit it. And he had this female best friend, and like just from his mannerisms, and you could just tell that he was gonna one day come out and say it. And he always denied it whenever we like would suggest it. And then one day he was like, "I have something to tell you guys," and we're like, "Yeah, we know." And then he was like, "Really? You knew?" Yes, we knew. And then it was just like, okay, well, that's over and done with. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I agree. Sometimes, and I'm not saying that people don't genuinely feel like, oh my God, I'm in the wrong body. This my mind and my body. Like, and there is people born with both penis and vagina. So who am I to say who they're supposed to decide to be?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that people who, because now it just feels like more of a fad. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, people are seeing more people do it, and then oh, that seems cool, I want to do that as well.
Yeah, but
because
can't that
I
be
really
said?
would like to know how people go back on it.
But can't that be said for everything? Like,
Yes, yeah, it does.
it
does.
Yeah, but I don't know if it is.
But
I
this
agree
is
there's
a
an
life
extent-
changing everything.
Yeah,
though.
I do agree there's an extent of it being a fad, because everywhere you look now, there is a kid who wants to change their gender, and it's so openly like spoken about. There's for
Isn't it
ITV
just
to
that
jump
now we
on
know
that.
more about it? Like before,
And that's
being
what I'm
gay,
saying.
like no one was
That's
gay.
what I'm
And
saying.
now,
That's
like,
what I'm
there's
saying.
so many because
That's what I'm saying.
in the nicest way. I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
how to say
of
that.
course. I know what you mean. Everyone's more open,
Yeah.
for sure. And was that always a thing where it was being hidden before? And it, you know, the stigma of mental health. Could people say that they couldn't think that because they were worried that they're going to be perceived as mentally ill? All of these things I agree, but I just do feel like with something that is so core, like I love being a girl. I know you love. I think all of us here like being
yeah,
female.
I love being a girl.
so
Until
like.
it's time for a period.
Yeah, but on the whole, do you know what I mean? So to not have that love and not know who you are and not know your identity, because a huge part of my identity is being female,
Yeah.
it's a mad thing. So
Yeah,
if there's a
100%.
person feeling that way, that makes me sad. Even
Yeah.
if I don't
Yeah.
know them, it makes me feel sad that you
Yeah.
feel like that. So I want to give you any chance you can to be who you want to be. And that's why the thing moved me so much about that guy committing suicide, because it was like you said, it wasn't because of his own actions, it's because people bullied him to be at
I
that
just
stage.
feel like people are, even though we're sitting here doing a podcast on it, but people are so quick to judge other people's lives and what other people are doing, even though it's absolutely none of my business.
Yeah.
Like, whether you want to be a he, she, they, or whatever, doesn't affect me until it affects me. Does that make sense?
So do you mean if it was someone in your family?
Yes and no. Just not even someone in my family, just somebody that I
Family,
know.
friend. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So my friend, who hopefully will be coming on as a guest in the next episode, I met as a female, and they now identify as male. And I think it was about 2 years ago. I really hope that they can come on and tell their own story. Until then, I hope they don't mind me sharing this part now. But about 2 years ago, Christmas time, they sent like a paragraph. It must have been to everybody that they know. And it basically said, a lot of you would have been suspecting this for a while, but from this day on, I now identify as this person. I will no longer be answering to my former name of blah blah blah. I would now like you to call me blah blah blah. Please, if at the least, if you don't respect my wishes, just respect my name. Do you know what I mean? And call me by. And I was one of those people that always knew, like, why don't you just, like, we got on, like, straight away. And when I was around him, who was then a her, I didn't ever feel, like, any type of uncomfortableness. Like, I didn't ever feel like they struggled with their identity. Like, I just thought that she was,
A lesbian.
I'm saying she because I'm talking about at that time, yeah, a lesbian. Well, she was a lesbian, but I thought that was it. Like, and people would even ask her, why don't you just change? And she was like, no, I don't mind being a girl, I'm fine with that. But then obviously that wasn't the truth. So when she came out and said it, I was like, I'm really happy for you, because I know, because I know you personally, I know how you have been feeling, and I know how every day, I really wanted him to come on and share, but I just knew that every day like was like an effort.
That's it.
To,
Exactly. Yeah.
Not just to like be there, but even in your appearance and what you wear, because you want to try and conceal certain things, but like it gets hard sometimes, and just like not identifying as a woman, but going through hormones that the women go through, and you don't want to be feeling that type of way. I can't personally imagine ever feeling that way. Like, I'm always comparing things to that's not the same, but when I like gain a bit of weight and I don't recognize myself, like that is what my closest could feel like. I hate this body, like I don't want to be in this. I just want to get liposuction and suck it all out and then be the true Kedeisha who was a size 12. Like, that's how I feel. So imagine that being like a whole gender. I can't imagine it. But yeah, people that do it, I commend them, because like my friend, I really am happy like that. Seeing that message that they sent was like not a weight off my shoulders, but it was like, I'm so happy for you that now you get to like live in your truth. But again, when I was saying about it doesn't what did I say?
But don't you
until it affects me.
Yeah.
Now it's like I keep going to say she, but it's not she, and I don't want to be part of the problem because I'm really happy that you're now a he, but it's getting my head because I have fond memories of you
as a her,
as a she.
That's interesting.
And
okay.
obviously, then since he's been going through this change process, I don't live in that area anymore, and he actually doesn't even live in London anymore, so we don't see each other as often. So it's not like I'm around all the time to just pick up on it. So every time I go to speak about them, I say I think first the previous name, which is not right. So yeah, it's me.
But that's natural. You have to adjust to it, especially if you're not around them often. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's understandable.
True. And also, don't you feel like had it been taught in school, your friend may have been able to get to that resolution which you were happy about sooner?
No.
You don't think?
No, because the reason that they didn't do it for such a long time was not because school didn't tell me about it. Because it was like a family thing, and is my family gonna respect me and accept me? Is my friends gonna respect me and accept me? How am I gonna be able to take this the way I feel onto the street? Like as strangers, how are strangers gonna perceive me? Like I don't think it was a damn if I'd have been taught that in year 10 I would have done this 3 years ago. I don't think it was that at all.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm really interested to see what they have to say.
I
Hopefully,
really
I can
hope
get
that
someone
they
on
can
and hear
come.
their own story.
Shall we throw some stats at them?
Yes, okay, so it's actually estimated that there's there's a lot of different statistics out there about how many transgender people there are, but it's estimated there's around 400,000 to 600,000 in the UK, transgender people. And 41% of trans men and trans women responding to a Stonewall survey said they'd experienced hate crime incidents because of their gender identity in the last 12 months. And they also found that 25% of trans people had experienced homelessness at some point in their lives.
Why do you think that is?
Why is that linked to homelessness?
Probably because like their family kicks them out, or like they just feel like a recluse. They feel like angry, or like
work might have been.
Yeah, like it could be so many things. Like
Was there? Am I
personally
making
and
this up, or was
environmentally.
there someone that was high up in something and became?
I don't remember.
Bruce Jenner.
No, I meant like government.
I don't know.
I'm
government.
pretty sure there was maybe not government, but someone. And I remember my aunt, not blood aunt, was telling me about it, and she was like, "Yeah, it's easier on them because he was a white male who turned around and said I want to be a female," and she was saying like the race card of like if it were any other race, I doubt it would have been as easy and as accepted and as this and as that, but because they're already a white male, like, do you know what I mean? Do what you want, mate. But yeah, I'll research that and find out, and I'll put it on the Insta and that.
And as well, that 67% of respondents to an LGBT survey said that they had avoided being open about their gender identity for fear of obviously a negative reaction from other people. And it's also that for children, it said that the general rule for determining whether a child is transgender, rather than gender non-conforming or gender variant, which is different, is if the child is consistent, insistent and persistent about their transgender identity. So for example, if like your little 4-year-old son wants to wear a dress or says that he wants to be a girl once or twice, then he's probably not transgender. But if your child who's assigned male at birth like insists that over like several months that she's a girl, and like they're like won't stop going on about it and wanting to wear dresses and all the time, then they're probably transgender. And obviously then you should probably take them to see a gender therapist and look into it more. Would I take them to see a gender therapist? Yeah, 100%. If my nephew was going on like I am a girl for a long period of time.
Your child.
Yeah, if my child, yeah.
So if you had a 4-year-old.
And they were going on for like
Bearing in mind they're
6
only learn
months.
to speak properly at about 3 years old.
Yeah, hence why it's more of a biggie.
Yeah,
To hold their brain span is like they can't hold things in for that long. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that it's been a consistent thing for time, 6 months is like a good portion of their actual life. Do you know what I mean? I think that is a very prolific.
Yeah, I'd definitely look into it.
I mean,
and see if it is as you
I
said,
would
other
have
factors.
to I would have to analyze every single thing first, like attention, this, that, problems, dynamics within me and the family, loads of shit. Then I would do it. Yeah, it's not like I wouldn't do it because of that, but I'll just go through many stages before. But I don't have any shame about doing that. Like it's not like I feel like therapy in general is brilliant. So it's not like I'd be like I don't want to go to a gender therapist. I wouldn't care about that.
But if it was like fact that yes they wanted to change, are you changing your child's gender?
Not at that
I would
age.
have to,
At
obviously it's only
6.
legal to do it at 16, so I
Yeah.
would wait until obviously
But
they're
are you-
older.
but
I would
are you-
support. I would
If
support
they wanted
until
to
then.
like wear other clothes and stuff, yeah, I would let them wear
I
other
would
clothes.
support until
and-
that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's a lot easier to say when I'm not in the situation and I don't know
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
react.
yeah,
But
I
I'm
can't-
hoping my best version of me
Mm.
is that. Like, I'm
And but
supportive.
they might
and
want to
I'm
wear
like,
dresses for like a year and feel like
Grow
they're
out
a
of
girl,
it,
and then
yeah.
after that be like, actually, I'm not, and that's fine. I think
Mm.
it's good for them to explore that and see if that's how they feel. Like
Yeah.
they should express it and see if
Yeah.
that is how they feel.
My brother will mind me saying this, so I'm going to say it anyway. When we were on holiday once, when we were in Barbados, family holiday, we put a dress on him. He wanted to as well.
Oh, my nephew wears my little heels all the time.
Put a dress on him that we were given to my cousin, and I put lipstick on him, and we called him Anna.
Oh, that's fine
For the
though.
day.
See, I feel like people get so
And
stressed
took
out.
pictures.
Oh my god.
Oh, even that's my nephew.
Yeah.
That's 12 weeks.
I feel like kids at that age, they don't
That's what I'm
mind
saying.
playing
Yeah,
with
it's
that
just
big
playing
stuff.
around.
Yeah. But not outside the house.
Oh my god, okay. One question I was going to ask you guys as well, non-binary. You know Paloma Faith?
Yeah.
She's raising her kids as non-binary.
I mean,
What does that entail?
When you don't
basically they
say,
can grow up to choose what they want to be.
and when you don't say on a form, you know when it says male, female, rather not say,
Okay.
you always say rather not say, or you rather say other, or whatever.
Mm.
So you don't conform as one until you're ready to choose, because she feels like society chooses for you.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, no,
Society
DNA
does
chooses
influence
for you.
you being.
Your
Yeah, but you
your
could be a
DNA,
woman.
your genetics choose for
Yeah,
you.
okay, fine, but you could be a woman and not do typically women things.
Which is that is the societal part.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
But that doesn't mean that you're not a woman.
Yeah, but your body is biology. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
DNA, true. But your body can't speak. Your brain is what tells you
No.
what am I.
But you're okay. They will save this apart too. But yes, your body is a woman, and that's the biology part. But it's not just a human thing that transfers across animals, fish, mammals, like all different types
Yeah,
of
but in
things.
animals.
But you're not gonna say to a dog, "What do you identify as?"
They can't speak.
Because
Yeah.
they're not as complex.
Yeah, I
as
know,
us.
but like if you had a do you know what I mean? Like you say it's a male or a female, and it's the same across everything. So you are a male. That's what I'm saying. You are what you identify as is different, but you either are or you're not.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I agree with her there for sure. Like you are originally, everyone is whatever they're born as, but then moving forward, what you identify as is different to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
See, I don't know. So I'm reading a book called The Gendered Brain, and it explores like, are we born as like a woman? Is our brain born as a woman or a man? Do you know what I mean? Like, can we actually have a brain? Like, biology is different. Obviously, you have a woman and you have your hormones and stuff. But is our brain actually like a woman or a man? And I was like, I don't actually know. Obviously, I'm reading it now, so I'm excited to see. Hopefully, I'll know by the time we do the next episode.
I'm gonna say woman.
You're gonna say we do have like a gender in our brain. We're born with. And is it our hormones? Then you know what I mean. Is it the hormones that we have that determines that, like, and changes like how we think and who we are?
Yeah, it is. That's why women are like. What's
So maybe if we were
Oh,
changing
you
our
mean
hormones.
pedestrian estrogen?
No. What's the thing that you spoke about at that brunch I came to?
Hard and soft power.
That. So like.
Feminine and masculine and feminine.
There is obviously two kinds. That's why women are different from men. Like I've got a book and it says women are from Venus, men are from Mars. Like so, there's obviously two different kinds. Whether it was intended to be male and female or just X and Y or whatever. But I feel like there is definitely like.
I don't know. My book says that book is like misleading.
Her book says your book ain't shit.
Yeah.
Well, my dad told me to tell you. I'm joking.
Alright, are you listening? Let's do
Right,
shout
let's
outs.
take this part two.
Shout outs.
This has been very interesting.
I've
It
enjoyed
is.
every
It's-
second.
It's very hard to speak on topics like this without people feeling offended or
And trying to be
or
kind about it as you
yeah,
talk about it.
because we want to talk as open and truthful as possible, but we understand that some subjects can be very touch and go, and some people who this may relate to may feel triggered, but please do not feel triggered.
And obviously, like,
Like,
we're learning as well.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
we might have
yeah.
said things
Click,
wrong, and
like-
if we have, like, we're so sorry.
Honestly,
Yeah.
and tell us, please.
Yeah.
Like we're all ignorant to this thing because none of us have experienced it, or you know. So please pull us up on it.
Yeah.
And if you have any people that you can suggest might be good
Yes.
guests for next time, give us a shout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone who wants to share their story, because we would love to hear.
Yeah.
Shout outs. You go first, Kedeisha.
Alright. The other day, I went to... What?
I think I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say? No.
The team.
No.
I don't know.
The other day, I went to a play called The Barbershop Chronicles. It's only on for the month of August, so me and my cousin went down there, and it was really good. It was really enjoyable. By the time you hear this, I think there's about a week left, so there is still time to get tickets. Barbershop Chronicles, it was put on, it's a British play, and it's based in a barbershop, but it's based in like 6 or 7 different barbershops around the world, and it just shows you how like we're all so different but we're also the same, if that makes sense. And it was just really interesting and funny and interactive, and it was just a good time. So yeah, shout out to the Barbershop Chronicles.
Oh, okay. I would like to shout out 2 things actually, because you know.
What is this everyday true business?
That's fine by me.
The first one is a documentary by Louis Theroux. It's called Transgender Kids, and basically, as I said before in the podcast, he like goes to visit a few different families that have kids that are in the different stages of exploring their gender identity, and yeah, it's just really fascinating to see like in their intimate lives. Obviously, he goes into their homes and speaks to their kids, speaks to the family and stuff, and you get like an inside scoop of what it's like. And I would also like to shout out the book that I'm going on about, The Gendered Brain by Gina Rippon. It's really good. If you like, it's quite heavy because it's like a research-based book, but you can obviously skip through the chapters, and like there's like different bits on different research, so you can find out like what's in the 21st century, what do we know now, or like stuff about how does your period and your hormones affect who we are. Like, it's just really interesting, so I would recommend that one.
I would like to shout out 2. No, actually, let me do one. I'm going to shout out 1. I'm going to find the ITV programme though, if it's still available, and I'll put it everywhere. That's not my shout out. My shout out is my hot yoga classes. I love them, and I'm always shouting about them, but I haven't actually shouted out on the pod. So Time and Space Yoga Studio in Pentonville Road. I'm an ambassador for the studio, so I have a discount code. And come to a class because I love them, and I haven't got to go this weekend because it's bank holiday weekend. But I would have gone by the next time you hear this. So yeah, it's great. I love it.
I really want to go to one actually.
Yeah. I'm not going to do it because you're
yeah,
not
sure,
shit.
list.
You can come with me, Jane. And
we
can
have a
leave
list
Kedeisha
of things that we need to get done, you know.
Okay. Right, let's round this up.
Alright.
We hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode.
Thank
Let us
you.
know.
Please
And we'll see you next week.
keep subscribing, sharing, all of that, and mentioning and writing comments because that really, really helps.
Yes,
Please.
we love it when people,
Write
because always when
comments.
someone comments, then other people start commenting as well, and we get into a discussion. So
And
Yeah.
share
That's nice.
and subscribe.
Yeah. Thank you to all the new subscribers on YouTube.
Yes,
Yes.
thank
We
you.
do actually see you, and
Yes.
we appreciate you.
I hate that. I just
I
did
love
it.
that.
Oh,
So
we
excited.
appreciate you. So keep up the good work.
Yes. Okay, see you guys.
Alright, bye.
Bye. Bye.